Designated Sierra. Con sonar, new contact.
Raise the ESM mast.
Con sonar, Master 2 is classified as merchant. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Come right to 200, helm I.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 103, designated Sierra 3. Con sonar, Sierra 1 is classified as submerged. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, Sierra 1 is cavitating. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 097. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 3-2 knots.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 076. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 074. Contact breaking up.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Come left to 126, helm I.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 090.
Con, helm, steady course. Come left to 074, helm I. Come left to 027 Helm I. Con, helm, steady course. Come right to 083 Helm I.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 093. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 096. Contact breaking up.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Come right to 083 Helm I.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 258.
Raise the ESM mast.
Con sonar, switching to active search. Con sonar, new con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3. Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Fire VLS.
Come left to 240.
Make turns for 3, 2.
Con sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar, lost contact. See
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 256, designated Sierra 5.
Come left to 167 helm.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 2.
Come left to 092 helm I.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Con, fire control, weapon counter.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 300. Contact is in the baffles.
Con helm, steady course.
Con sonar, lost contact. Master 1.
Come left to 029 helm I.
Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 295. Con sonar, regained contact on.
Come left to 314 helm I.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 293. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 292. Contact breaking up.
Come left to 277 helm I.
Fire VLS. Fire VL.
Con helm, steady course.
Con sonar, Sierra 5 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 271. Con sonar lost contact, Sierra 5, last bearing 272, contact breaking up.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, switching to passive search. Sonar, new contact bearing 1.
Raise the radar mast.
Make turns for
Con sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar, new contact bearing 109, designated Sierra.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Come right. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Come left to 181, helm.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. 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 Con sonar, launch transient from.
Come left to 121, helm aye.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, lost contact. Master 2, last bearing 099. Contact breaking up. Sonar, new contact bearing.
Make turns for 3, 2 knots. Maneuvering on.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, new contact bearing.
Fire VLS. Fire.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Come left to 335. Helm I. Con helm.
Con sonar, launch transient from. 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 Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, maneuver.
Come left to 305.
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con helm. Steady course.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. 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 Con sonar, Master 1 is classified as Escort. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Come right to 333. Helm I. Con helm. Steady course. Come left to 304. Helm I. Con helm. Steady course. Come right to 355. Helm I. Con helm. Steady course.
Con sonar, Master 2 is classified as Escort.
Come left to 338. Helm I. Come left to 331. Helm I. Come right to 003. Helm aye. Con, helm, steady course.
New radar contact, bearing 040.
Come right to 097. Helm aye. Con, helm, steady course. Come right to 100. Helm aye. Con, helm, steady course.
Flooding in the reactor space. Damage control parties. Eight of the damage control parties. Lay to the engine. Damage control parties. Eight of the reactor space.
Con sonar lost contact. Master 2. Last bearing 041. Contact breaking up.
Come left to 064. Helm aye.
SSM mast.
Con sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar, no longer cavitating.
Con maneuvering. Making
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Con sonar, new contact bearing 032, designated Sierra 3.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Come left to 085. Helm aye.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 028.
Con helm, steady course.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 024.
Fire VLS.
con maneuvering. Making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 069. Contact faded. Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as submerged submarine.
Come left to 076. Helm aye.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2.
Con helm, steady course.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Come right to 100. Helm aye. Con helm, steady course.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 063. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 056. Contact breaking up.
Come left to 062. Helm aye.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 334.
Con helm, steady course.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Come right to 09. Con helm, steady course.
Damage control parties, lay to the reactor space.
6-1. Contact.
Raise the radar mast.
Con sonar. We are cavitating.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Come left to 1.
Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire
Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Lost contact. Master 1. Last.
Fire VLS.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con, helm.
Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Lost contact. Master 6. Last bearing 259. Contact breaking up.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar. Launch transient from.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar. Launch transient from. Con sonar. Lost contact. Master 3. Last bearing 270. Contact breaking up.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
VLS.
Come left to 172, helm I.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, launch transient from.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, lost contact. Master 2, last bearing 265. Contact breaking up.
Come right to 238, helm I. Con, helm, steady course. Come right to 239, helm I.
knots. Maneuvering aye.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Come left to 318, helm aye.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from
Fire.
Con sonar, launch transient from
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Con sonar, launch transient from
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 076, designated Sierra 4. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 095.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 4 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Come right to 062, helm aye.
Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 122.
Fire VLS.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Come right to 072, helm aye. Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is cavity. Con sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 089. Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 142.
Come right to 109, helm aye.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 070.
2-1. Aye, sir. Shoot 2-2. Aye, sir.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3.
On. Pumps are damaged. Unable to contain the flooding. Damage control parties. Lay to the reactor space.
Shoot 2-3. Aye, sir.
On. Pumps have been repaired.
Shoot 2-4. Aye, sir.
Flooding in the machinery space.
Con, fire control.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 360.
Con, torpedo room. Cannot fire inside minimum range.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 4. Last bearing 317. Contact is in the baffles.
Come left to 015. Helm aye.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 4. Bearing 311.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 296.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, torpedo room. Tube 1 ready. Con, torpedo room. Tube 2 ready.
Con, fire control. Unable to fire.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 244.
Come right to 119. Helm aye.
Con, torpedo room. Tube 4 ready.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, torpedo room. Tube 5 ready.
Come right to 223. Helm aye.
approaching.
Raise the radar mast. Raise the ESM mast.
Make turns for 1, 0, 9.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 3.
Fire VLS.
Make
Con sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 339. Con sonar, new contact bearing 348, designated Sierra 4. Con sonar, regained contact.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact.
Fire VLS.
Come left to 235. Helm I.
Shoot 2-6. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 341. Contact faded. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 343.
Con helm. Steady course.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Come right to 301. Helm I.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 349. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Con helm. Steady course.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 356. Contact faded.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Con, torpedo room, tube 5 ready.
Shoot 2-3. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 003. Con sonar, Sierra 4 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 279.
Come right to 012. Helm I.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 0.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 037. Contact faded. Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 039.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 347.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing. Shoot tube 6. Aye, sir.
Come right to 070. Helm aye.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 338. Contact breaking up.
Con, torpedo room, cannot fire inside minimum range.
Con, helm, steady course.
Shoot tube 3. Aye, sir. Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 052. Contact breaking up.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2 ready. Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready. Con, torpedo room, tube 6 ready.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Come left to 319, helm I.
Make turn.
Con sonar, no longer cavitating. Con sonar, new con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 5 knots.
Fire.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Fire. VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 093. Contact faded.
Shoot 2-3. Aye, sir. Con, fire control. Unable to fire.
Make
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Come right to 120, helm I.
Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 094.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready. Fire. VL.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire. VLS.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2 ready. Fire. VLS. Fire. VLS.
Con sonar, lost con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4.
Come right to 151, helm I.
Fire. VLS.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire. VLS.
Come left to 146, helm I. Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 08.
Fire. VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4.
Fire. VLS. Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready. Fire. VLS. Fire. VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire. VLS. Fire. VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4.
Aye, sir.
Come left to 109, helm aye. Con, helm, steady course.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 094.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 039.
Come right to 159, helm aye.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 04.
Con, helm, steady course. Come left to 068, helm aye. Come right to 182, helm aye.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 046.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
On. Motor ray has been damaged.
Con, helm, steady course. Come left to 089, helm aye.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Damage control parties. Lay to the machinery space.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is cavitating.
Damage control parties. Lay to the engine room. On. Motor ray has been damaged. On. The total ray has been repaired.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is cavitating.
Con, fire control. Unable to fire.
Fire VLS.
Shoot 2-4. Aye, sir. Shoot 2-5. Aye, sir. Shoot 2-6. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as submerged submarine.
torpedo room, tube 6 ready.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 067.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing. Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 069.
Con, torpedo room, tube 5 ready.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 056. Contact breaking up. Con sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 075.
Come left to 018, helm I.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 059.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Come left to 357, helm I.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Shoot tube 1, aye sir. Shoot tube 2, aye sir.
Damage control parties, lay to the machinery space. On, hood array has been damaged.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 059. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 058.
Come right to 129, helm aye.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 082.
Con, helm, steady course.
sonar lost contact. Last bearing to...
Raise the radar mast.
Con sonar, new con sonar. Launch transient from Sierra 1.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Make turns for 10 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 254. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 1. Last bearing 254. Contact breaking up.
Come right to 289, helm aye.
Damage control parties, lay to the engine room.
Come right to 358, helm aye.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 178.
Flooding in the reactor space. On. Pumps have been repaired.
Con sonar lost contact. Last bearing 1.
Raise the radar mast.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 117. Designated Sierra 2.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Come right to 275, helm aye.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116. 116.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 108.
Damage control parties, lay to the engine room.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 110. Contact breaking up.
Con, helm, steady course.
sonar, Master 1 is classified as merchant.
Make turns for 10 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Sonar, new sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Sonar, new
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Fire VLS.
Sonar.
Make
Sonar, we are cavitating.
Fire VLS.
Come right to 151. Helm aye.
Sonar, noisemaker bearing 0.
Con helm. Steady course.
Sonar, regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 036.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Sonar,
con maneuvering. Making turns for 2 knots.
Come left to 088. Helm aye.
sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as submerged submarine.
Con, helm, steady course.
Sonar, noisemaker bearing 026.
Come right to 130. Helm aye.
Sonar lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 022. Contact breaking up.
Con, helm, steady course. Come right to 141. Helm aye. Con, helm, steady course. Come left to 058. Helm aye. Con, helm, steady course.
Raise the ESM mast.
Con sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar, new con sonar. Launch transient from Sierra 3. Con sonar, new contact.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra.
Come left to 050. Helm I.
Make turns for 3, 2 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Con sonar, regained contact on.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, maneuvering. Making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con,
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4. Last bearing 164. Contact faded. Con sonar, regained
Come right to 105. Helm I.
Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 5.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, Sierra 5 is cavitating. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4. Last bearing 170. Contact faded. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4. Bearing 171.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 5. Last bearing 155.
Come right to 17.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4. Last bearing 17.
Make turns for 15 knots. Maneuvering aye. Con, maneuvering. Making turns for 15 knots.
Con sonar, Sierra.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
Fire VLS.
Come right to 199.
Make turns for 20 knots. Maneuvering aye. Con, maneuvering. Making turns for 20 knots.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 6 is cavitating.
Fire VLS.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 151.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 145.
Come right to 229. Helm I.
Make turns for 3, 2.
Con, motor array has been damaged.
Con
Con, helm, steady course. Come right to 286, helm aye.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Come left to 182, helm aye.
Con sonar, Sierra, bore, is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con, helm, steady course. Come left to 137, helm aye.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 151. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra, bore, last bearing 151. Contact breaking up.
Come right to 228, helm aye.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, propulsion has been damaged.
Con sonar, no con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 043.
Damage control parties, lay to the machinery space.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 125.
Fire VLS.
Come left to 127.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 053. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 122.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 120.
Fire VLS.
Damage control parties, lay to the engine room.
Come left to 077, helm aye. Con, helm, steady course.
sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar,
Raise the radar mast.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 15 knots.
con sonar, new contact bearing 121, designated Sierra 1.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Make
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 119, contact faded.
Con, helm, steady course.
con maneuvering, making turns for 32 knots.
Fire VLS. Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Come left to 117, helm aye.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 1.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, fire control, unable to fire.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 077. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 062. On sonar, new contact bearing 0.
Make turns for 20 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Con, fire control, unable to fire.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar,
Fire VLS.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 20 knots. Make turns for 32 knots. Maneuvering aye.
con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 1, bearing 042. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1. Con sonar, Sierra 1 is cavitating.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 111, designated Sierra 2. noisemaker bearing 040.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Fire VLS.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Come right to 086. Helm I. Con, helm, steady course. Come left to 041. Helm I.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 027.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 030. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 126. Contact faded. Con sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 092. Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 129.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar,
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Con sonar, Sierra 2 is cavitating. Con sonar, Sierra 2 is con sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 308.
Con, motor array has been damaged.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Con, our rudder has been damaged. Damage control parties, lay to the machinery space.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 140. Con sonar, new contact bearing 036, designated Sierra 3.
Fire VLS.
Sierra 3, last bearing 316. Contact is in the baffles.
Come left to 355, helm I. Con, helm, steady course.
On sonar, new contact bearing 29.
Raise the radar mast. Raise the ESM mast.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 288. Designated Sierra 3. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3. Con sonar, new contact.
Damage control parties, lay to the engine room.
Con sonar, we are cavitating. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 318. Contact.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 31.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4. Con sonar, Sierra 4 is classified as submerged submarine.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar, Sierra 5 is cavitating.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 3-2 knots.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 326. Contact faded. Con sonar, Sierra 5 is classified as submerged submarine. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 305.
Come right to 284, helm I.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is cavitating. Con sonar, regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 329.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 331.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire VLS.
sonar, noisemaker bearing 314.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 302. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 316.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 297. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 321.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 038.
Shoot 2-1, aye sir. Shoot 2-2, aye sir.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 4. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 062. Con sonar, lost contact. Master 1, last bearing 188. Contact breaking up. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 071. Contact. Master 2. Last bearing 142. Contact breaking up. Switching to Con sonar. We are cavitating.
Con, motor array has been damaged.
Con sonar. Launch transient from Sierra 2.
Make turns for 3, 2 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 028.
Shoot 2-3. Aye, sir.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Con, helm, steady course.
Fire, VLS.
Con, maneuvering. Making turns for 3, 2 knots.
Con sonar. Launch transient from Sierra 2.
Fire, VLS.
Con sonar. Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire, VLS. Con, torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
Con sonar. Noisemaker bearing 353.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Come right to 216.
Con sonar. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 312.
Damage control parties, lay to the machinery space.
Come left to 349. Helm aye.
Con, motor array has been damaged.
Con, Flyco, aircraft ready to launch. Con, Flyco, launching aircraft. Con, Flyco, aircraft is in the air. Con, Flyco, aircraft transiting to point.
001. Helm aye.
Damage control parties, lay to the reactor space.
Con, Flyco, aircraft orbiting waypoint. Con, Flyco, aircraft transiting to point.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 337.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, Flyco, aircraft returning to base. Con, Flyco, aircraft landing. Con, Flyco, launching aircraft. Con, Flyco, aircraft landing. Con, Flyco, aircraft stowed.
On sonar, lost contact. Last bearing 332.
Con, node array has been damaged.
Con sonar,
Raise the radar mast.
new con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Shoot 2-1.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 216. Designated con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Shoot 2-2. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine. Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra,
Come left to 085. Helm aye.
con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2. Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is
Fire VLS.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 247. Contact is in the baffles.
Shoot 2-4. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 238. Contact faded. noisemaker.
Fire VLS. Fire VLS. Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Come left to 297, helm aye.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 233. Contact is in the baffles.
Shoot 2-1, aye sir. Shoot 2-6, aye sir.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 255. Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 243.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
Con sonar new contact bearing 235. Designated Sierra 5. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 5. Last bearing 234. Contact faded.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con,
Come left to 244, helm aye.
fire VLS. Fire VLS.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 263. Contact faded.
Fire VLS.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 264.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 308. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 306.
Damage control party. Lay to the machinery space.
Come left to.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 3.
Shoot 2-6. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 341.
Shoot 2-5. Aye, sir. Shoot.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 196.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir. Con, fire control, unable to fire.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 196. Contact faded.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 196.
Con, helm, steady course.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 196. Contact faded.
Come right to 275. Helm aye.
Con, torpedo room, tube 6 ready.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 3, 2, 4.
Damage control parties, lay to the reactor space.
Shoot tube 6. Aye, sir. Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.